Some were. So obviously when I was in a band back in the day, it was before jail and stuff, but I was always talking about just stuff like punching on and winning the fights, and then breakups as well, like, and stuff like that. And then just standing your ground and just having a brotherhood and friends around you and doing whatever you dying for and stuff like that. It was just all like positive stuff. But when I went to jail, the lyrics changed, obviously. I had different things to write about, different emotions. And I felt like, even though I did my jail easy, I wanted to write something where, and this is not saying I'm an artist, but any people that writes lyrics, they're writing stuff to show what they're feeling at the time, but also if it's about a hard time, they are kind of trying to put it out there to make it so some people can get something good out of it.
The crew that does it proper, done proper. Beat street.
Welcome to the Fitness for Freedom podcast. I'm Dan Vansetten. I spent over a decade in prison. I've since gone on to study for a law degree. I found sport and fitness crucial to maintaining a positive mindset to get through imprisonment. Join me as I talk to people from all walks of life to hear their story of how sport and exercise has helped them build resilience and overcome adversity.
Culley, I would normally be welcoming my guests to the show, mate, but we're recording this from your house, so thank you for welcoming me to your house to record the podcast today. Thank you, mate.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for coming and going out your way.
No worries. I understand you're on parole right now, serving the remainder essentially of an 8-year sentence.
Yeah, just 2-3 weeks away left. Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing that I discovered about you in prison was your involvement in music and that you were part of a band.
Best time of my life, being that chapter of my life. It was great.
You even had a copy of your own music on CD in prison.
Yeah, I did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I found that great. I'm really looking forward to chatting not only about sport and exercise today, but also about your involvement in music and whether these things helped you build resilience and overcome adversities that you experience in life. First of all, how old were you on the first occasion that you went to prison, and what were the circumstances around that?
So I was 28 when I first went in. I was on home due bail for about 18 months prior.
What was the first prison you went to?
So I went to a remand centre. I was there for about 5 weeks. At the time, it was my first time in, so I was getting my head around everything. So 5 weeks felt like 3 months, and I didn't know anyone there. But I put a request in to go to Mobilon, where I said I had family. And 5 weeks later, I was at Moby.
Do you recall, the first day that you walked into the prison, the process that you went through?
It was pretty overwhelming. Like, obviously, I knew I was going in. I was on bail for a while, so process going in. You got a fishbowl and that, and kind of just trying to see if you know anyone and that. But then you just get chucked in Unit 1, and it was like the week leading up to Christmas. It was like 3-4 days before Christmas and that. So there's a lot going through my head. Didn't know what was happening. Obviously, in my head, I was hoping there was someone I knew in there, but yeah, I just had to kind of work it out for myself at the start.
Did you have any idea beforehand of what prison would be like?
I had a small idea, but I don't think anyone really knows until they experience it themselves. It's nothing like the TVs, obviously, especially in Australia. It's quite relaxed. It can be. It's only hard if you make it hard. Yeah, I had an idea. I had a few mates could do the rounds and stuff, but I didn't really understand fully, especially about politics and stuff.
And what about the cell itself? Like, can you explain what a cell's like for people that are listening?
Cell's exactly what it is. It's 1 by 2 meters long, and it's the bunk there and your toilet and your shower, and it's all there, and that's it. It's all in a very small space, and you definitely set up with someone at the start. It's not the best environment, but they don't make it to be appealing, do they? So
very basic environment.
Very basic. Everything's standard. Some units don't even have the shower in the cell, so when you got a shower, you just take advantage of that, and just get used to that little environment being the place you're going to be locked in for at least 16 to 17 hours a day.
What's a typical daily routine in the remand centre?
Very basic. You've got very minimal rations of everything. They let you out 8:30, 9 a.m. And it's like a race. It's like a race for breakfast, and it's putrid how they do it, really. They put out all the loaves of bread, but they put out 2 boxes of Wheat Bix and 1 box of cornflakes. And this is between 40, 45 people. It's a joke, and they if you're upstairs, you've got to get to it quicker. And boss will tell you off for running, but if you don't run down, you ain't going to get 3 Weet-Bix. It's a bit of a joke how they do it now. It's pretty putrid.
It's every man for themselves for breakfast.
It's bad. Breakfast is bad. They give you your lunch and dinner, but breakfast is a race and survival for the fittest, basically. And, I never struggled to get breakfast, but fuck, man, you got to make a priority. Otherwise, you start to lunch.
They could do things a better way. I know there's a lot of fights over breakfast.
Yeah, a lot of fights over silly things. And food shouldn't be a thing, It should not be food. You should get your 3 meals a day, basically, and it shouldn't have to be a fight, especially with breakfast. There's people that miss out. Lots of people that miss out.
Can you explain how you ended up with an almost 8-year sentence?
Basically, I was charged for drug trafficking, multiple counts. It was like 42 counts originally. First offence in that. We got it down to 11, pled guilty to that, lost all my discounts and stuff like that by that time. They basically gave me four years on top with a 2 on the bottom. And it was straight. I did have a pending charge, which I was aware about. We tried to get it run concurrent and get dealt with at the same time, but unfortunately, I'd already been on bail for 18 months. The judge didn't want to bar of it, so I knew there was another sentence coming up. I was just hoping they'd, be lenient with me, being it was my first time in, and it was around the same time, the charge. They gave me 2 of the 4, and then I just had to wait for the next charge to come, and that was dealt with about a year later. So I had about 6 months to go on my non-parole, and they gave me another 11 months on the bottom and extended my non-parole to 6 years and 7 months. So I got sent to that 11 months. I was pretty happy with it. Didn't make it known that I was happy with it, obviously. You've got to do what you got to do. They moved me to Cadell. I was at Cadell like a week later, ready to do that 11 months. I was there a day or two, and the CMC called me in the office and told me the prosecutor's DPP's appealed my sentence. And got on the phone to my lawyer and asked him what the fuck's going on and what's the process now. And he told me basically, he was expecting it and stuff, and we just got to see it out. He said, look, man, that likelihood they're not probably going to get anything out of it, but unfortunately you can't apply for parole until it's dealt with. So I was hoping within 6 months it was dealt with. I could apply for parole, but unfortunately it just kept dragging out. And I was at Cadell 5, 6 months, 8 months went past, 9, got to 11 months. Yeah.
This is waiting for the answer for the appeal?
This is waiting for the answer for the appeal, yeah. And I'm at Cadell, I'm glad they didn't put me back to dual status because I was already sentenced and that there. They left me at Cadell. I was quite happy. I was pretty comfortable, but 11 months went past. I was waiting and I was due to get out the next week. My non-parole was up the next week, and then I've gone and chased up about it, and funny enough, the CMC said, yeah, we got an email this morning. Got caught tomorrow. All right, get ready, call my lawyer, what's going on? He's like, look, get it in your head, you've got maybe a year. Next, they'll give you another year. Obviously, then to appeal it is a big deal. They go against the judge's decision, and it's a big thing. The judge get audited and stuff like that. So it's massive. So
how long had you done at this stage?
So I'd done about 2 years, 11 months then. So I was waiting to get out next week.
Parole was due.
Yeah, parole was due the next
and
week.
you're waiting on the outcome of the appeal.
I'm still waiting on the outcome. And that happened, and they had a video link the next day in the dorms at Cadell. And I was in there 30 seconds. I didn't even have time to process it. And I was in there, they just put the screen on, and 3 judges were there, and they started reading out some numbers, and I was like, just get to it. And then all of a sudden they said, we re-sentence you. 8 years and 6 on the bottom.
8 and 6.
8 and 6.
So what did that mean in terms of how much longer you had to serve in prison?
I wasn't even halfway through my non-parole yet.
And you were just ready to get out?
I was just about to get out next week. I was hoping, I knew I was getting out next week, but I was due to get out next week. I knew the parole process would have taken maybe a few months, but I was ready to go.
Shadowing?
It was gutting. I was gutted. Yeah, I had a moment, I went back, and I should have just maybe went back to my cottage and relaxed for a bit, but I got straight on the phone and called a friend and vented and had a bit of a cry, and that was scarred. I couldn't believe I've done 3 years, and I thought I was getting out within 6 months, and all of a sudden I've got minimum 3 to go.
The uncertainty itself that you had to face, like waiting for the outcome of the appeal, that in itself is very difficult to deal with, uncertainty.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then to get your sentence doubled.
Obviously, by that time the repeat offender law came in. So the repeat offender law came in I think the end of 2017 or something, and they took leniency when they originally sentenced me because they knew it was my first offence. The law came in after I'd committed the offences, including that second offence that they gave me the extra time for. But they kind of needed to set an example. I was one of the first people to get sentenced under that new law, and they set an example when they...
From the legal side of things, it was interesting because, like you said, that law had just come in. Your offences were committed before that law come in. And then they sentenced you under the new law. So what they were doing essentially was applying that law retrospectively. Normally a principle that is not allowed in law, but this law is based on sentencing. And so your sentence was done after the law came in. And that's how they wangle that bit of law to make it allowable. Can you explain, what prisons that you have spent time in, and tell us a bit about each of those prisons? Maybe if you can start with the high security prisons first and then work your way down.
So remand centres, it can be good some days. It depends. If you've got a good group of lads around you, it's good anywhere. But I've had an average experience in remand centre and also a good one. But then moving on to Maxwell, Yatla, and that in a sense is definitely an eye-opener. When you drive past, that's what it looks like. It's nothing compared to what it was on the side, I think. When you get to B division, G, whatever, where you're at. You don't see the light of day, and it's not healthy at all. Like, I did a week and we didn't get out at all. We were locked in our cell for 3 days, and you celled up, and the cells were real small, like smaller than Moby ones and that. Yeah, and it was summer, and they got no aircon. So you got the pedestal fan at the end of the wing. That's it, blowing down, and you just hope you pretty much beg boss to leave the trapdoors open, a bit of air. Sometimes the screws will say yeah, some are paddable, some aren't.
Yeah.
That's it, and you're just sweating. You can say you're sweating in your jogs. And it's beautiful. There's no shower in the cell, obviously. Communal shower there.
So, you have a wing, and then you have the cells on each side of the wing.
Yeah.
And on each cell, there's a little trapdoor that folds down. And when they lock you in at night, the back wall of the cell is obviously the wall to outside, which is a big thick stone wall.
Thick stone.
And that holds all the heat in like a kiln.
Yeah.
And when they shut the door of the cell, there's no airflow in the cell. As you were saying, like sometimes they'll allow the traps to stay down at night, and that gets a little bit of airflow through.
A little bit.
The windows in the cell is a little piece of perspex with holes drilled in it, and it might have about 20 holes drilled in this piece of perspex, which is about maybe 50 centimetres long and 20 centimetres high.
If that. My cell was, would have been 15 centimetres wide each. It was putrid, and I only had holes in it from people burning them with lighters.
They didn't even supply the holes.
No, man. Not at all. There was just big lighter burn marks out in the thing.
Yeah, what other prisons, mate?
Most of my jail I've done pretty easy. I've done some easy jail, and I've been very lucky and blessed with that. When I went on to Mobilong and that, it's a bit of an eye-opener. I had a mate, my best friend was there. He was set up, so it was pretty easy my first week, I had what I needed, my doona, my remote, my pouch. I was ready to go. Taking the world. I was in the pool the next day, in the pool there, and that was an eye-opener. I was like, this is all right, Couldn't obviously mingle with the other units and that, but I recognised a couple of people, and my mate, he made sure I was looked after, and it's quite good. Did a couple of years there. Obviously made my way to Ross after about 6 months, and Ross at the time when we were there together, it was just, there was so many good lads that made the whole unit just great, like get-togethers at House 10, that's something that makes you smile. It was awesome, like whether it was pizza night or Vietnamese New Year or grand final day or someone's birthday. It was just, we always made the best of it. Christmas even, we got all the lads together, 30 of us in the house, and we'd go right on with it. So that was, definitely.
They were great get-togethers.
They were awesome, man. Now I still think about it. They were that's the best way you could do your jail, with a good group of lads. You forget where you are, especially on Christmas. You get together and you do what everyone pitches in, and you forget where you are.
So that area, Ross unit, is like a cottages type area.
Yeah.
And rather than the prison giving you food, they give each cottage an allowance.
Yeah, budget,
Yeah, and so when something like Christmas comes up, people can put some of that budget aside, and it accumulates every week if you don't spend it.
Yeah.
And then so all the lads would put in together and have one big enormous cook-up.
Yeah, and obviously I made my way to Cadell. That was something else when I first got to Cadell. I didn't even know what was going on. They kick you out in the morning and that, and you kind of just smell the fresh country air, and you have a look around, and you're seeing crims walk around with tools and that. I was spinning out. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm seeing guys walk around with hammers and drills, and a week later I seen someone walk around with a chainsaw. I'm like, oh my, what the fuck's going on?
It's definitely unusual.
I'm like, what's going on, man? And there's no you're not tagging it out from boss, and your name getting down. You just go to the shed and grab it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's open, and this thing's missing, and it's just funny when you move to a cottage and that you got this, the knife selection box or something like that, and all the steak knives are pretty much missing over the years. At Mobilong as such, people understand. You got if you're in a living unit, you got your 3 knives, and they're on the chain. There's no getting that off. And you get Cadell, and this thing's missing, and no one's you know.
No, there's no counting knives.
There's no counting knives. You don't really go ask boss, can I use this, and give your name, and that's it. Like, you compare it to like Mobilon, you go to like, say, to assembly to work, and if there's like a drill piece missing, none of you are going back to the unit. Again, you're in there. I remember one time there was like a hammer missing at assembly, and that was it. We couldn't find it. We had to start looking for it till we got found, and then we all got strip search and looked, and it was like 2 hours later. We were back in the unit. Everyone was locked in. It was like past 9 o'clock. And that was all because someone threw a hammer in his skip trying to be funny, because he was getting out the next day and didn't care. And there was a hammer missing, and that was it. They just didn't trust anyone, and we got strip search and didn't get back to the unit till like 9:30
At night.
Yeah, so everyone was locked in, so cold dinner and that. And you don't want to be up there any longer than you have to for your $2.50 a day, you know. And we were stuck up there just because some goose thought he was funny and threw a hammer in the skip, and someone lucky enough found it. That was it. We weren't going anywhere otherwise.
Yeah, so it's funny when you get used to living under surveillance, constant surveillance, and with everything checked, and then suddenly you go to an environment where you got weapons and no cameras.
Yeah,
it's definitely different when you first get there.
When you get used to it pretty quick, but the first week or so, you like getting your head around it, and it's a big spin out. I think it was a big spin out.
And of course, Cadell's on a farm.
Yeah, they got the dairy farm there, and got a few things in the CFS program, and they got a lot of options there. You got more courses than that. It's just very more relaxed. But obviously, you earn your way to get there. You know, if you fuck up there, you're not going to go back.
Yatla, I believe, there's a new unit in Yatla.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's called Carter. It's a split into 2. So basically, it's not Yatla. Like if you woke up there, you wouldn't know where you are at all. It ain't Yatla. It's so, and the public kicked up a fuss about this when it first got made. And when you go there and experience it, you kind of get it, because you've experienced air unit, haven't you, or salt bush or something, have you?
You've been at Augusta?
It's like air unit at Mobilon.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing you compare it to as a cell. So you've got your double ups, you've got your TV each and that, but you've got your ensuite bathroom in the cell. And everything's brand new. Everything's like exposed aggregate on the floor, and you've got carpet in your cell. Everything's very clean. It's very easy to keep clean. It's very basic. You know, you can't stash anything. You can see everything. Everything's corked and that. It's very basic. But, man, you've got a bloody button for your roll shutter. Like, come on, man. Remember, like, you get told off for putting a towel up in other blocks, you know, too early. They think it's a security breach or something like that. At the Inns Tara unit, it goes up. It's on a timer. It opens up on its own at 7 a.m. and then again at 12:30 or 1 after the lunchtime lockdown. So you can put it straight back down.
Oh,
the rest of the day.
So you can close your window.
You can close it. Yeah, it's like complete vibe. And that's like that. And even the shower and that, touch button, sensor. It's so weird, man. And so you've got your big unit. It's like a massive fishbowl, basically. It's like, you know, big seats everywhere in the eating area and that. It's, you know, it's very open and that. It's very high sitting. It's just a big pod. And basically you've got your screws office in the middle, and on the other side that's the other unit, you know.
Yeah.
So you still can talk. You go out to the little yard and chat to the lads on the other side of the fence, or you get yard at the same time anyway. You get yard twice a day there, but obviously out there everyone knows it's very controlled still. So you go to work, but you don't get out that gate until that one's closed behind you and stuff like that. But it's definitely you can do a couple of years there easily and fly. There's a lot of good lads there at the moment. And yeah, it's definitely a better way to do your JR rather than B division or something like that.
Let's get back to this window business for a second.
Yeah.
Normal people in the community wouldn't understand this issue.
No.
You know, like in B division, you're locked in your wing. You only get about an hour and a half yard if you get yard.
If you get yard. And then you may be out, if you're lucky, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. You're locked in at 4. That's it till 9 a.m. 4 p.m. to 9 a.m. you're in the cell, but then you also, for an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes over lunch, you're locked in as well. So you only got like, maybe if you're lucky, 9:30 through to 11:30, if you're lucky. And then when you get out at 1, you got like that till 3:30 or whatever. That's it. And then you're in your cell. And then the wing's not massive. If you don't get yard, you've got like a 20-metre wing where like all of you are trying to pace back and forth to get some steps in. That's it. There's no light. You know what time of day it is really. There's a clock at the end of the wing through the screws office. And like I said, there's joint showers. So if you don't get let out of your cell, you don't get a shower. So when I was locked in for that week and I didn't get let out for 3 days, so I didn't have a shower for 3 days.
That's unbelievable.
It's fucking disgusting.
So if you're lucky, you get an hour's worth of yard, and the rest of your life, 23 hours a day, is spent in about a 20-metre radius.
Yes.
And sometimes in that, you're just bored as hell, and so you want to go kick back in your cell.
Yeah.
And you want to cover your window just to have a bit of a snooze during the day or something like that. And you've got this light. It's the only place you've got light blaring in is in your cell, not in the wing.
That's it.
And you want to cover your window, and you get in trouble for that. You get breached.
Bridge.
Yeah. So to have this roller shutter that you can put down,
Right.
you can go have a nap in the middle of the day.
Whatever you want. Your
Yeah.
room can be pitch black all day. You don't that when the timer thing hits, you don't even need to let it go up all the way. You can just start moving straight back down. And so people that will never understand, they probably won't understand, but that is unheard of.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
It's crazy.
Ever. No.
It was so I'm glad I've seen it in a sense, as much as like also I wish I didn't see it, but it's like just to know it was there, and it was all right. And even the little yard bit's got plant life and that, and it's just very different. You can kind of just see the tops of trucks on Grand Street Road, maybe, but other than that, you can't see that. But also, you've got the reservoir up top. You've got the top and bottom. Top bit, there's a bit blue area you can sit, and you can see like pretty much all the way through Parafield. So it's a good spot to have a coffee and sit, and you can pretty much see all the way through the Parafield Airport.
This progress to a more humane prison, though, is moving at glacial speed.
Yeah.
Not fast at all, but some of these little things can really mean a lot to blokes that have done it a long time.
Especially the ones doing a long time. It's not made to be like a holiday resort, but you want to be a bit comfortable. If you're doing 20, 30 years, like there's like the lad, what's his name, but he's been in B Division for 20 years in middle floor, and you don't want to go in. He's been offered to go Port Augusta or Moby. You don't want to borrow, but he's just that institutionalised. He's in the middle floor, 20 years.
It's disgusting what they do to people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And then once you're institutionalised, then they blame the person for not wanting to go.
That's right.
They're like, we're giving you this opportunity. Yeah, after 20 years, they're giving them an opportunity when the damage is done. Mate, I honestly can say that throughout my imprisonment, I met a lot of really good people in prison, and really interesting people as well throughout my prison.
Yeah.
People I would have never met if I hadn't been in prison. And in a way, that's one of the things I look at as one of the benefits of going through prison is some of the great people I've met.
For sure.
Did you have a similar experience? Is there any interesting people you've met?
You meet some characters, but you also meet some of the best people you've ever met, like you just said. Some of the most honest, loyal people you've ever meet will be in jail, funny enough. The people with their words, but also you meet some horrible people, but some gronks. But then there's a particular one that stands out, someone's done a long time. James Earley. For those that don't know, he's been in since 1989. My whole life,
It's incredible.
It's the whole. He obviously there's a little bit he got out there when where he had at the previous and he got out. I think it was 3 or 6 months he was out.
It was about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it wasn't long. And so basically, people don't understand. He's been in for 35 years, and he's been out for about 3 or 4 months in that time. And basically, there was an alleged breach, and there was no real proof. Someone said something in that, but it was a breach, and that was years ago now. And basically, he's fighting deportation. He's been fighting this for close to 10 years now. Be coming up to that, right? And it's just what they're doing is just it's not right. Like basically, his mum's died. He's got 3 brothers. They're all in Adelaide, and because he was born in Ireland, he come out here when he was 2. They're trying to deport him. For imagine died. Well, they want to deport him back to Ireland. He's got no one there, so he's been fighting it because. He is institutionalised, but he's got no support network over there, no family. So if you send him to Ireland, what do you think is going to happen to someone that's done 35 years,
So since 1989, so let's just have a think about that for a second. I think dollar notes were still around in 1989. VL Commodores were new.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just incredible to think that a person's been that long in prison and he hasn't actually had any behavioural breach since the 90s.
I know.
He's able to get parole, but he'll be deported where he's got no support, no family.
To the UK, yeah.
Yeah, where he doesn't know anybody.
No one. You want to send him to a foreign country, that's his only option, and you think this man could be dealt with 2 or 3 years max, but no, it's been dragging out past 8 years now, and it's sad, and people just forget about it. There's people like us that don't. We haven't stopped thinking about him. We don't like seeing it. We just want the best for him, and there's only so much we can do, and it's just out of our hands as well. At the same time, we just try to highlight it and talk about it as much as possible so people are aware.
Yeah, people should be aware. It's definitely a human rights issue.
Terrible. Like my whole life, I was born in 88. And it's just crazy the thought of just let alone the technology, but my whole going to school and then, my first girlfriend or, get my license and then start going to town with all my friends. He's been in jail this whole fucking time. And there's no jump past it, he did a crime, someone died. He's done his time. It's time to move on. And like I said, some people will argue that I'm not being biased either with it, he deserves his time and his right to be out and released in Adelaide. And that's the end of it, And there shouldn't be an argument over it. And the argument shouldn't drag on this long anyway.
No, his original sentence was 14 years non-parole period.
There you go.
And he should have been out in 2003. And then he got caught up in a whole bureaucratic manipulation of laws for political gains. That's all that was.
Yeah.
And now he's still caught up in a bureaucratic process about deportation, which is basically, he's not a danger to the community. This man is a good, genuine man, 60 years old. Really, his deportation is just for political gain as well, for politicians to say, oh, we're removing criminals from Australia.
Yeah.
In his case, they should make an exemption, that's for sure.
I agree.
Any other people, mate, that you've...
I kept to myself a lot, in a sense, where I still made friends, but people say it a lot, and I agree. I don't argue the point, but I have a very passive-aggressive look on my face sometimes. And that's not me being angry or miserable. That's just me being in another world in my head, not wanting to make 100 friends a day. And without even trying, you still make friends with some good lads, but I didn't want to fucking shake hands with 500 people every day. It just wasn't for me. That was the way I did my job. But I was always happy, 95% of the time, my job was easy. I could say that confidently, Yeah, you meet some good characters in that, but Jimmy's the one that stands out.
I lived in prison similar to you, where I just had a small group of close friends, but was friendly to everyone. But then when you get parole, suddenly you're barred from seeing those friends.
Yeah.
They say, no, you can't contact these people. So people you spend years with, been part of motivating and supporting each other, you're suddenly separated from those people.
Yeah, that's right. And, some of your relationships on the outside, they might all still be there, but some might have just drifted off. And, people, it depends how long you do, but it doesn't take long for other people out on the outside world keeps moving. When you're inside, it's just on hold, I found. And, I found I had friends getting married, divorced, kids, I come out and my life was the same. And it was just it was all right. It was just on pause for a bit. A lot of everyone progressed, and that's what you do, and I'm proud everyone did, but people grew apart as well. So if you lose your friends that you can't even talk to now, the new ones you've made, you come out and there's all you've really got to rely on is your close ones and your family that are still there. But some people come out with no one, which is really sad, Some people lost people that knew them, and that's the only people they had, and they come out and they can't talk to people that they're in jail with. And then all of a sudden they've got no one on the outside. And this is sometimes why people reoffend, because they find it better in jail.
Like you said, your friends have, some have got married, have had kids, they've been divorced, they've bought houses, they've changed jobs. Their whole life circumstances have changed, and then you come out of jail and they're your friends, and you're sort of injected into this abstract situation where now, you're suddenly just sort of tapped on, and it's sort of finding your way of where you fit in, even with the people where you fit in again.
Yeah, I agree.
What other hardships, mate, did you experience through prison?
There was a couple of funerals I missed. They were the hardest things, not being able to be there for, my friends. One close friend, she lost her husband, and all I could do was make a phone call, tell them sorry. And there's nothing I could do to make it better. I know that, and she lost her husband, but I couldn't even attend the funeral. I tried. I was at Cadell. I thought I had a good chance, to be honest, because he was an immediate family. They wouldn't let me. Missed that, and had another friend pass away not long after that. A couple of friends drifted off. They were a bit disappointed in me, but most people stuck around in that. But the hardest thing, my biggest hardship was, probably a couple of people passing away, and I just couldn't even say goodbye properly and that. And it's a real sad time.
I think that's part of the isolation that you experience in prison, that I experienced in prison anyway. Disconnection from your family and friends.
Yeah.
And it's an excessive disconnection that doesn't always need to be so severe.
No.
What about boredom in prison?
Look, it depends where you are, I guess, it does help moving on to mediums and then low security jails, and you get a routine, but even in the low security at Cadell, it gets boring. Sometimes you just want to get locked in. Once 10:08 happened at Cadell, I was in bed. I was done. I didn't want to stay up and watch a movie. I just wanted another day to be done. That's the way people stay up and they watch a movie and they're fuck prolonging the day. Let's go, But out here, I'm like, I want the days to slow down. But I took up lots of things, I did study whatever I could. I started reading. I read my first book, then I got addicted to that. But training was the main thing, gym, that was what I made priority. The day I went in, my charge, I was a drug addict. I was hard for drugs, and that was it. The day I went in was the day I stopped, and I replaced it with gym, and I found that the best positive way to fix my boredom.
What about access to information?
I found the access to information very vague, especially with first timer. It's a bit overwhelming almost, but once you meet a lad and he kind of walks you through a couple of things, it's all right. But when you want to know things, you can't ask boss. You kind of just have to sit back and observe and kind of wonder what's going on and just hope for the best. I'm not a shy person at all, I'm always going to ask if I need something. I'll ask someone, But most of the time I just sit back and observe. But stuff like that, information, whether you want to do things like that, you kind of just got to make friends and ask them, people that have done the rounds.
Do you remember your first case review?
I do remember the first case review. Originally it was after my first sentence, the 2 of the 4, and they worked out where I'm going to go if I need to do courses. I got away. I didn't have to do any courses, make changes, didn't have to do it. I was very lucky. I had automatic parole organised and stuff like that. So I was ready. I was set. And when that new charge came, nothing changed. My sentence plan still stayed the same. I was pretty happy about it. That was basically it. It was pretty straightforward because it was the first time in. I was doing everything right. And
what about your access to education and rehabilitation programs?
So Mobilon, there's so much you can do. I got on the bloody business thing and just doing Excel spreadsheets just for something to do and get me out of assembly a couple of days a week. When I got to Cadell, hard and did whatever I could. Did whatever I could do. I did like Cert 4, I think it was, in leadership and management, and Cert 3 in micro business. Did everything I could. First aid, EWP, whatever they did. Jumped in the CFS. Anything I did. I got my truck license to where a point I became a truck instructor at Cadell.
So Cadell was definitely the place to be.
Cadell was, I loved Cadell.
Yeah.
I personally loved it. I didn't even want to move on to the pre-release from there. I loved it. Because I was comfortable. I got very lucky enough to, being a 2-man cottage with a very good friend, and my time was just flying. And I had a great job. Like I said, I was a truck instructor, and before that I was on the outside crew. So eventually, for those that don't know, you can get the outside work gang there. And my first time out of jail, I was working in the Riverland. It was a fucking awesome day.
How did that feel, getting out of prison?
It was just weird getting on a bus and not even go and get a strip search to go out. I just got on the bus and gave them my ID tag, and obviously you had to get the approval, first, and it takes a couple of weeks. But I was on the outside crew, and I can't remember the first place we went to. It was like a couple of hours away, Balaclava or something, I think it was. And it was my day out. We were just cleaning up an RSL, and just the fact that I was sitting in an RSL and sitting inside, almost at a bar as well, and getting a free just Coke Zero, it was awesome. And then the guy there had a dog that walked around. There was a dog, and I was just playing dog all day. I wasn't even working. It was bliss. I loved it.
Nice. When I was at Cadell, I was on the CFS there, Country Fire Service.
Yeah, you were too.
I don't know. Yeah. Were you on the CFS?
I was.
Yeah. Can you explain what that was like?
It was awesome. I loved it. I did my BF1. It was like probably October, I think, in the year, and we
Basic firefighting.
Did that. Yeah. Got my head around it. Loved it. Dressing up, it was the most exciting time, I think. And then all of a sudden got my pager, as we do, and then feeling a bit more awesome. You got some sort of technology on you. Yeah. That's not a phone.
When you're on the CFS course, you're a prisoner.
Yeah.
And so you're in jail, and there's a CFS base on the prison, and it's a CFS base like any CFS base around the state. You attend the CFS as if you're on the Country Fire Service, like a normal member of the community that's on the Country Fire Service. Yep. And when you say they give you a pager, they give you the actual real CFS pager that all firemen have. That pager could go off at any time of day or night.
Anytime.
And when that thing goes off, boom, you're straight up there.
Off with the boys.
And there's an incident going on.
Yeah. It's an experience. It's just, it makes you smile. But I had a structure fire the first week, I think, and that was, you go around, and obviously the other lads, Brandon and that, they got their BA, and we're just helping them get their head around it. It was such an adrenaline rush, and they were running up to the shed and then jumping in the truck, and within half hour you're there outside, and big house on fire. It's hectic.
And on the way there, sirens are blaring.
You're with the lads, you're driving, Scott, captain's driving, I'm in there, and this is crazy, man. You're all suited up. This is the best.
It's the real deal.
Flying out, going to a dangerous situation, and we did that, and then, it was great. You all of a sudden, you get there, and all of a sudden it turns to 8-10 hours shift, and that's it. You come back to jail, and you still got smoke, and you just pumped. You can't even sleep. And then, was it 2-3 weeks later, the Australia's worst bushfire season started. So the Culley Creek fires happened.
Wow! So you attended that?
I was a registered firefighter for less than 5-6 weeks. And all of a sudden, I'm going to Culley Creek, and you got to remember I'd done 3 years jail at this time. So I was on the outside work crew, so I kind of got a bit of taste of going out of jail. All of a sudden, I'm not even putting my ID tag in at the desk. And I'm around like the shed, and captain's called us saying, "Who will get some crews and we'll go." And I went straight up, and I was loving it. You know, as much as a horrible time it was for Australia, I've been in jail for 3 years at this time, and I was driving to Culley Creek to help people put out fires. People outside the Riverland radius don't know Cadell is the brigade is jail. They don't know. So you're getting treated normal anyway. So after 3 years, I'm getting talked to like a normal person. I'm not getting talked down to. I'm not getting told what to do. I'm getting thanked. I'm getting hugged by people that are just grateful that you're there to help them in that area, Galaraka. And, you know, it was horrible. There was bad things happening in that, but I remember going there, like the 2.5-2 hour drive, whatever it was, maybe I can't remember. It was like at least 2 hours, and getting there, not comparing it to a war or anything like that, but man, you get off the truck and you're all suited up, and there's these crazy noises. People are hooning around. There's helicopters. There's planes going on. There's smoke everywhere. I've been firefighter, like, you know, just over a month. I'm like getting dropped in the zone of this is hectic.
It's all action.
Hectic.
Radio's going off.
Radio's going there, just a bit hectic. You can't even process it. Like, and you're just doing what you can do. You're reeling out the hose, turning that on. It's the little thing you can do. There's spot fires everywhere.
People yelling out.
Yeah, trees falling down. It was mental, and obviously we did that, and then we did that for a few hours and went to the staging area, and they really look after you there, you know what I mean? The staging area is awesome. Massive setup, all voluntary. There's food. So we're not in the truck at the time. We're out. We've got our jackets off, just got our tops on and that, and our pants, and that's it. And we're just walking around, and anyone that's talking to us is talking to us just like a normal person, and it just felt weird because we've been talked down to for years.
Treated like a scumbag for years.
Fucking shit.
And suddenly treated the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like doing the community a service.
Yeah, they didn't know. They're just talking to us like we're not a number anymore. We're just a normal person. Most of them didn't know. And the people that didn't know, they didn't care. They're just so grateful you're there. And it was such a humbling experience at the same time, very emotional. I loved it. I don't care who knows that. I loved that experience. And being a voluntary firefighter for Cadell was my best experience in jail. I loved that I could give something back.
It's the same for me. I think that was the best experience I had in prison.
Yeah.
And I did go to a house fire, and, you know, we walked up on the scene, flames were roaring out the window, and it was the real deal.
Real deal.
And it was on, yeah. And the feeling to be able to be involved in that and be helping out,
yeah,
and being treated like a normal human,
yeah,
it was unbelievable.
It's definitely something I still want to do out here if I live close enough to a station. Obviously, you need to be within 5-10 minutes. But if I lived out in the outskirts, I'd definitely be a voluntary firefighter. I loved it. I really loved it. Once I got my BA, unfortunately, I didn't get to do a structural fire once I did that course. They moved me on to pre-release. But yeah, I loved it. And you're the lads, you know, 2 a.m. in the morning. I mean, you're in bed, the pager goes off. Where else can you be? You're in jail and you're running up to the shed, operating a 340 grand vehicle, like driving to Lunchtown and walking for a structure fire. Like, the adrenaline rush is nothing better than that. It was so fun. Loved it.
What about bedding, mate?
The beds they're very average, let's say. There's not really a good one you can get. Even when you double mattress up, it's shit. It's terrible. You get used to it though, don't you? I'm a very light sleeper anyway, so I'm always waking up. And for those that don't know, you know, the screws will come around and count every hour or two. Depends on the hour, but most times it's every 2 hours. And if you don't wake up anyway, that'll wake you up because they jingle their keys, they slam doors, they shine the light in your face. So it's very hard to get a peaceful sleep anyway. So yeah, you're not always on edge, but you never got peace really.
It's hostile
the whole time. Yeah. There's always beacon things going off, and you know, if the buzzer's not asking for you, you know, someone's watching you and looking for you. There's never just any peace, you know.
PA system, mate. I felt like I was living in Adelaide train station.
It's weird. I still hear that ding dong, you know. When I first got out, I was on home duty. I got up automatically and stood on my bed, and I was about to walk out the door for count. It wasn't like an ongoing thing, but it happened a couple of times. Just
routine.
A habit, yeah. I went out for count, but I was out of it. I didn't have to go to work that day. I just got out like a week. It's fucking sad, eh?
It's no secret, you know, there's drugs in prison, and you can tell by assessing the urinalysis tests, I guess. Did you experience that there were drugs around and were you tempted to use drugs?
You see them around. It's a lot easier to get there than it is on the outside, to be honest. But the day I went in is the day I stopped. You know how it is, though. You know, evil, see no evil. Just you see it every day.
Yeah,
every day.
what made you make that decision not to use drugs? If you'd used drugs previously, I used drugs before I went to prison, and when I went to prison, I didn't use drugs either.
Heavy drug addict for about 10 years before going in, and I guess I just also had an epiphany in a way. I didn't want to I got arrested, and I went in. I didn't really have bad withdrawals, but my drug of choice was meth. I was on the pipe hard, but it was just amphetamines in general. I wasn't in the downs and that, but it's just coke, pills, anything. It was just a habit. Even when I was on home bail prior, I was still running the mark, causing mischief. Didn't care, not care at all. Drugs were my priority, and that was it. My priority was just to feel okay and not come down. That was it. So when I went in, it was just a very easy decision. I remember sitting out in front of my unit, after I got raided, and the cops were, just doing their thing, going in and down. I'm just handcuffed behind my back, and I'm just thinking, this is not fucked. This is one of the two moments where I'm like, it's hit me, I'm fucked. And that's where I hit. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm done. So, no, it wasn't a hard decision at all. It was, I seen the gunny around the first day I was in there, I seen the meth around. I didn't care. So, fuck that. See you later. I'm not doing it. I'm going to start making a better version of myself, and it starts now.
One of my previous guests, Daniel Chung, he said a similar thing. The day he went to jail, he just said, no, that's it.
Yeah.
And he said it was an easy choice to make as well. I found it an easy choice as well. So there must be something there that has made that so easy for us to just...
Who you surround yourself with is the kind of person you mold into. And yeah, it wasn't a hard decision at all. It was one of the easiest ones I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's just, that's it, I'm done.
I'm aware, mate, that you were involved obviously in sport and exercise in jail fairly heavily.
Yeah.
Do you think that played a role at all in avoiding drugs and avoiding incidents in prison?
110%. 110%. I always had this theory, I put everything I ever had effort-wise into being a drug addict at the time. The last time I had a fight was the day I went in. It was December 2016. I never looked back. I figured if I could put half the effort into fucking training, I'd be semi-alright at it and enjoy it and see results. And yeah, I slowly did. Once I moved into Ross, I was training just weights, but once I moved into Ross and moved into the lads, one of your previous guests, Nedza, started training with him and little Terry and Big Ronnie. I think that's how I met you. I think you come along to Tabata once.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was it. And I was doing Tabata religiously with them 3 days a week, but they got me into that. They pulled my head in and started doing that. And because when I went in, even though I was off the drugs, I was comfortable for money. My mate was giving me a pouch every week, so I spent all my money on fucking shit, just sweets,
just
lollies, shit, man. So I put on over the 3 months, I was up to 100 kilos and unhealthy 100 kilos, and just looked like a mess. I didn't care. I was like, I just treat it as a holiday, just treat myself, trying to do all right. But yeah, and I moved in, and then they were very strict, although they trained and ate and set a good example for me, and I jumped on the train, and that was it. So I started focusing on what I ate, and once I lost that first kilo, the first week I did Tabata, I got that bug, and that was it. And I dropped 10 kilos, and then 15 kilos. I was down 85, and yeah, and then I jumped on the plant-based thing. But it was all training with Nedza and Terry and Ronnie that started it, which I'm really grateful for. And just got that bug, and that got me into my cardio basically.
What would a week worth of training look like with those guys?
So we'll do Tabata religiously Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10. Just in around the gym, go there. And we had big crews. It was great. Remember Brazil? We had Brazil and Jojo even. And then you come along and that was it. But it was always me, Ronnie, Nedza and Terry, religiously and that. And then you come along. So I met you and that was it. But so I'll do that, and then the afternoon I'll do weights. Then I'll just focus on what I'm eating and that. And I leaned out and got healthy. I felt great. I still smoked tobacco though. That was my little treat. I even had to step it up, and he'd be like, let's do Tabata in the afternoon on Tuesdays and Thursdays you would, and Saturdays you just do something else. But we'd always play, me and Nedza would be the ones that set up soccer on Saturday. So those that don't know, there's an oval there, and we'd have to do the cones and mark the pitch out and that, and set the goals up, put the nets up. It's an effort, but we had time to do it, and that was we got a big passion for football, so did that every Saturday religiously as well.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that would motivate a lot of other guys to get involved.
Yeah, there's teams. There was always Ross versus the world.
Yeah,
Ross versus the rest. I would always dominate most of the time, but yeah, it'd be all the rest of the other units. Join in on Saturday, and have a big game of football for 2 hours. Just run around, the kids not in the heat, but then jump in the pool after. Best.
What about weight training in jail?
training's good. It's depends where you are. Mobilong was all right. I like the gym set up there, and I was still getting used to it and learning a lot. And then I got Cadell, and they got the free weights, obviously. And once you're out of the cell block and that, you can get such a good routine, and I loved it. So I'd get up every morning. If I wasn't running, I'd go to the gym and do abs. So every second day I'd do abs and rotate it. And that's 6. And, there would be no one in the gym, maybe but 1 or 2 people. And that's it. I'd get on the elliptical, for 20 minutes and then use that. And then my mate would come in. We kind of worked it out with time frames and just had this own routine. I got up, woke up, started the day the best way I wanted to, trained, had my overnight oats, which I still do religiously. And, ate them and then start work, go to work and then try to just get through the day. As soon as work's done, train weights, eat tea and go to bed. That's it. And then the other day's done.
Do you think that was part of, what you enjoyed about training is just how easy it was to get to sleep at night?
Yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah. That helped a lot. It was a big part of it, actually.
Sense of achievement that you got from training?
Big sense of achievement. It's more a mental thing for me. And I've carried that on since being released. I need to train, and I get in my head if I miss a day, I feel like a mess. And I know I'm not. I know, I'm not out of shape just because I missed a day of training, but I like thinking that way because it keeps me in line and in check to not have another day off.
So sport and exercise I found is very beneficial to rehabilitation. I'm wondering whether you got any formal recognition from the prison authorities in your case management process for your ongoing involvement in sport and exercise.
Sport? No, I cannot say I ever did. I don't think I ever got a pat on the back from boss about playing soccer or gym. No. And if you do get a compliment, you don't fucking want it from a million.
Definitely not a pat on the back, right, just generally, but in your case management process where they say, Culley, what have you been doing over the past year? Is there any recognition that they say, oh, it's good you've been involved in team sports and you've been involved in sports and teams? I guess just the benefits of sport, they should be proactively recognising, I think.
I've never even thought about that, ever, but now I think back to it, I'm like, no, I never get asked that. You only get asked if you're doing courses or if you got, a good support network. That's it. They ask if you talk to your family and they don't care anyway, but I never told them anyway. If I told them, they don't need to know if I have a relationship with my family. It's not their business. But no, you never get asked if you're playing sport or anything like that.
It's not on the list.
I never even thought about that, no.
As I mentioned, mate, I'm really interested to hear more about your involvement in music. I'm wondering if you can explain maybe your involvement in music, how it started and how that evolved over time.
Yeah, right. So back in the glory days, a long time ago, I think I was 20s old. So I was in a band. Heavy, like you say, a heavy metal band. It was hardcore to me at the time, but that's the style of music, and it was definitely a type of scene, a music scene that molded me as a person, in a sense of standing up for yourself and having a sense of brotherhood or sisterhood and making friends like family and stuff like that, but always standing your ground and standing tall in that sense. So it kind of molded me as a person, and it was just one of these scenes when I first started going to shows. It was one of these places where I never felt more at home. I felt like I belonged in a certain scene with these people, if you go to a hip hop show or something like this, I was going to this certain scene show, like a heavy hardcore metal, aggressive, progressive metal sort of scene where I felt at home, to the point where I got a passion for it so much that I started a band with it. Yeah, and it was probably the best fun I had in my life. I met some people from all over the world because of it, and got to play some great shows from amazing people, and it just was a passion. I was so addicted to it. But obviously, I was a vocalist, and I'm not saying I was a good singer or anything like that. I really just talked shit loud in the mic and yelled. I pretty much just yelled how I would yell in an argument. And it's pretty much that on the mic. And that's how it was, that's how a lot of people do it. But I wasn't growling and stuff, but to the outside perspective from other people, they might think, oh, you're just, a devil metalhead. But I was the furthest thing from it, I had, short hair at the time and wasn't wearing black and stuff. It was just, but the music was where the talent was. The guitar and the drums and the bass was where the talent was. I was the one they didn't need, but it was just a group of friends, and I spat some stuff on the mic, and all of a sudden we had a couple of demos in the CD, and it was a real fun time in my life, it was great.
The way you explain that, it reminds me of older punk era, like Black Flag, and influenced by that.
Not by them personally, no, but yeah, definitely ups and downs of those bands and that. It's hard to explain. Like, I think if I told you the bands that influenced me all that without being rude, you wouldn't know them. Like, but there's like some big bands now that are doing so well that I got lucky enough to play with back in the day and stuff like that. And we weren't massive in that. We were kind of semi-known around Australia and stuff a little bit, and we didn't tour that much, but we had a lot of fun, but we were all about just Adelaide shows and having fun and making the best friends. I made some great friends in that time. It was a long time ago now, but I still write lyrics to the day, and I have a new project going on at the moment. Funny enough, like 15 years on, and I'm hoping it still works. There's a couple of things holding me up at the moment, but hopefully it works. And the group, they're behind me, they support me.
That's just a matter of getting in the studio.
There's a lot of things I want to get off my chest, and I've got a lot of I guess you'd say lyrics that I wrote when I was in jail as well. I don't want to get out that aren't about jail, but it's just about becoming a better person, a better version of yourself after going through stuff like that.
You actually wrote lyrics while you were in prison?
Yeah, I've got probably 100 songs that I've written in that 4-year period, at least. I've got another 100 that I've written since me now. I'm always writing. If I think of something at work, I'll just write a note, and then that weekend I might construct a whole song. Did
you find that your lyrics were influenced by your time in prison?
Some were. So obviously when I was in a band back in the day, it was before jail and stuff, but I was always talking about just stuff like punching on and winning the fights, and then breakups as well, and stuff like that, and then just standing your ground and just having a brotherhood and friends around you and doing whatever you dying for and stuff like that. It was just all like positive stuff. But when I went to jail, the lyrics changed, obviously. I had different things to write about, different emotions. And I felt like, even though I did my jail easy, I wanted to write something where, and this is not saying I'm an artist, but any people that writes lyrics, they're writing stuff to show what they're feeling at the time, but also if it's about a hard time, they are kind of trying to put it out there to make it so some people can get something good out of it.
Someone else can relate to it?
Yeah, relate to it, benefit from it, or get something good from it. Definitely learn from it in a sense, like maybe not make that mistake, or just how they can cope with the situation if they ever get into that.
I think it is an avenue of storytelling.
Yeah,
writing music and singing.
Yeah,
if you call it singing.
Yeah. I'll definitely not say I'm a singer, but it was fun and people listened. I had people, there's people screaming out lyrics I wrote, and they're better than when they do it. I hand them the mic and they sound better than I do. I just talk shit, but it didn't matter because that sort of scene, I want to validate that scene. It really wasn't about sounding good. It was about getting a message out and positive one, and having a safe environment where people felt like they belonged, like being a misfit or an outcast, and just having something. It could be a mate on stage, and you're just so happy to see him. You don't care if they're shit. You just want to sing their lyrics and have fun and jump around. And it could be someone that you don't know, and you look up to him like, this lyric, this song like hits me, it speaks to me, and you want to scream it, And that's what it was. And the way the style was just a way of emotion for getting out that feeling. Like some people do it differently, obviously, but me saying the word "fuck" would just make it so more aggressive because I'm yelling it, and it makes it, you kind of takes you to the moment how I'm feeling when I wrote it. That was great. I loved it. And I never ever got nervous. I remember my dad asking me specifically the first time we played back in 2008. You remember, like, did you get nervous ever? I never did the first time. I just felt like I belonged. And the crash hits and I just jump and got the mic and I just express how I feel, and I just get lost. I forget where I am. And I loved that. I loved it.
Do you remember that first time that you walked up on stage and you're playing in public in front of people?
Yeah.
What was it like? Yeah.
It was just, it felt normal. I loved it. I feel like when I went away, I lost a lot of years where I could have been doing that same thing, because I got carried away with the drugs and that. Not that lifestyle was influencing that, it was something else. But, I've always had a passion for that music, and I think coming clean in that and coming clean and sober has kind of reignited that passion for it, which is why, and it's it's given me a lot more to write about, to being drug fucked and writing something when you're high, being clean in that, and writing about how you felt then comes out a lot more passionately.
You wrote some lyrics in jail.
Plenty.
Have you got any favourites that you'd like to read out?
Yeah, I've got one that comes to mind. Kind of wrote this towards the end of my sentence, and after learning a lot about myself during the courses I did, and becoming a better version of myself, fixing some strange relationships, I guess, with family and friends, and getting closer with some family that I've never been with for 15 years because I was just bloody bender. And it's funny enough, going away made me closer with people that I didn't have seen maybe twice a year, but it just coming clean just maybe changes things. It really helps. But yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I'll read it out. And just I've got to explain that when I write, it's basically in my head I'm writing it with heavy chunky riffs behind me. I'm thinking of a metal song, and so sometimes not perfectly grammared in a sense, where there might be one word of a sentence I don't say until I wait for a beat to drop. And that's just kind of a good way to understand it. So when I read it sometimes it doesn't rhyme, but it's because I can stretch these lyrics out any way I want when I put it to music. In the shadows where the demons crawl, once a prisoner, I took the fall. Time slipped away like a whisper in the stars. Concrete walls, they closed me in a cage, echoes drowning in sin. Trading laughter for silence, hearing screams of despair, each tick of the clock, a dagger in the air. While friends turned to phantoms, fading from light, I felt my life was on hold by the outside world, progressing from sight. Prevailing through the darkness, rising above, family bonds stretched like fragile wire with the warmth of love turned to cold desire. Forging a new path in the furnace of pain, each scar a reminder of the lessons gained. A chrysalis shattered my wings, spread wide. The light I now have, I had to go deep in the darkness to find. Life's a raging tempest, a storm on the rise, but I face it head on with fire in my eyes. Ambition's my armour, growth my decree. In the wreckage of yesterday, I found the real me. Chains that once bound me now lay on the floor. I am the calm, I am the storm. A phoenix ascending, my spirit breaks through. My past doesn't haunt me now. I'm a warrior who broke through.
That's awesome, mate. I actually can't wait to hear that on a natural track.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it'd be good to put down on a CD for sure, and with some music behind it, make it sound better.
You feel the emotion in it when you're reading that out?
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of try to read it how it's in my head, but yeah, there's definitely a lot more of emotion shown when there's a good guitar riff.
Did you get to play music in prison?
I think a couple places, like at Mobilon, they have like a little guitar. You can, there's a few guitars going around with that, but I never knew how to play. I did learn a bit of acoustic through a friend at Cadell, and I've got my guitar here that I've kind of just strung around with, but they don't have options like that really. There's a couple like things I've seen, but it's there's no good resources there.
I've seen some prisons online that are offering music studios in prison.
Yeah, right.
What do you think of that?
Music's awesome. Like, I think that'd be a great benefit for a lot of people. Even at Mobilon, they did this radio show thing. We're trying to do like a prison radio thing, and that was like in the media kind of world, and that was fun. And that took 2 months. 2 months flew when I was doing that. Yeah, basically, these two girls coming from England, and they'd set up this radio station in a London jail. They were trying to do the same thing here. So not like we were going to be able to do that. They were trying to set Mobilon up to eventually be on a platform for that. So we did this course, and that did so much for like the 12 of us. We loved it. We actually enjoyed it. We had something to look forward to every week for 2 months, and did this big project. Yeah, so I think doing music and that, having like decent instruments or having someone come in and doing lessons for those that actually want to learn, it only benefit a person.
Was that the project that was like a podcast that they released on a CD?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, no, I've heard the CD.
Have you?
I actually didn't know that you were on it.
Yeah.
I heard it back in maybe just after it was completed.
Well, really? So my older had Pommy accent on it. I did the school because they just wanted me to just do whatever, and I just pretty much, they told me to do like an induction thing for like someone who'd never been to jail before and come in and study it. So I've done got boss to make the intercom noise, and then I've put on a Pommy accent saying prepare for unlock, pretend to be boss. Oh, it was just but it was like recording for this thing, and it was like, all right, and that was it. And then it was like basically I put on this Pommy accent. Don't know why I did it. They just said do something different. I'm like, all right. So I basically give them 4 things like explaining, the movement from each unit, your weekly buys, with visit times and like the prison barber. I did like a full Cockney accent.
I actually know that.
Yeah. That's me.
And that's why I didn't recognise that you're
That's
on
me.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, I was inspired by that.
Yeah.
And, that's inspired me to do what I'm doing now.
That's good.
Is when I saw that happening and I heard that CD, I was like, wow, this is like incredible. Anyone can actually get involved in this and give it a go.
And I'd only been in a few months. Like I was pretty fresh. I was in Angus unit, I think, when that was happening. But that was me putting on a Pommy accent, like saying, just explaining like the movement from each unit and the prison barber. Yeah, that was me having a laugh.
I think personally that music itself is the same as sport and exercise. It's essential to rehabilitation. It's not everyone's cup of tea, music.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I've never met a person that doesn't love music. So I don't know what I'll do with that music. Music has saved me in a number of ways, in and out of prison, going through things. Whether I'm down and a bit sad, I'll listen to a sad song. It's weird, but I do that to feel better, and it works. And me, when I was writing lyrics, especially, it really helped me. Like writing a letter to a loved one, you feel closer to them, but I'd write and feel like I'm learning more about myself at the same time, if that sounds weird, but it was a medication to me, and expressing myself was just something I needed to do because I couldn't talk to anyone. There's a lot of people that wouldn't relate to it in jail that I have a chat with, so me writing it down was the only way I could help myself with it.
I think it's a type of self-reflection.
That's the word I was actually looking for. That's 100%, I agree.
I used to do a similar thing with just writing letters.
Yep.
I would write a letter, and I would express myself in the letter. I would learn how to express myself better by reading and writing the letter, working on the letter, and then often just throw it in the bin the next morning, but would feel better about the whatever it was that I was writing about.
Why'd you throw it away?
Sometimes it was about expressing how I was feeling about a person,
maybe
a family member, and it probably wasn't appropriate to send out.
So you slept on it at least.
Didn't
send it out straight away, didn't stamp it.
Yeah, but I felt like I told my story as well. I felt like I could express myself.
I get that.
When you were released from prison, you said you were on home D release. Did you go?
Yeah, so I got lucky. So when I got that re-sentence, I thought I still had 3 years to go. Fortunately, I only had to do another year, and then I got home D sentence. So they sent me to pre-release with 2 years to go.
Yep. So
I did that last year at Cadell. It flew, and they sent me to pre-release. I was there not even a week before they gave me the news. I already had the paperwork in, obviously, a couple of months earlier or whatever, and they gave me home D. And I just had that's the longest weekend of my life. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe when they called me out there. I'd been there 5 days. Said, you go home next week. Fuck, what? I've done 4 years, and I got emotional. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. I called my mates and I was like, what are you doing next Tuesday? And they're like, not much. You can come fucking pick me up. Gonna fucking get me. Like, I was so happy. Called my new housemate that just give me a place to live, bless her and her partner, give me a place to stay. Called them and she already knew. She knew before me because I called her like a day before corrections had called them to go do a check and that. So she'd been waiting for me to call, or I call her once a week. She'd been waiting for me to call a week and called her, and she knew I got home there before me. I was so happy. I was like, I'm going home. It hit me. It was a good day.
What is home D, mate?
Depends. You could be home D bail, home D sentence. So home D sentence was me lucky enough to get out early with an ankle bracelet, but to be monitored and to finish out my potential non-parole period on home detention. So basically, they won't ever stop you from working, but there's a lot of obstacles and steps you've got to do. You've got to kind of just do what you want. Stay home unless you've got permission to do it. It's pretty fucking easy and straightforward. I did 2 years of that. It's done before you know it. I worked pretty much within the first few weeks. I started working full time, and that's it. You've got to get a letter of employment. So unfortunately, there's no real way around it. If your employer doesn't know the situation, they're going to know. So whether they want to follow with a hassle, it's up to you. But I had employment with a friend, and they were all good. And it's pretty straightforward. I just started my new life and started driving to work and doing a normal job, drug free, and getting a coffee on the way to work, and just started to live my life. And still restricted, obviously, but from what it was, there was a big step forward.
I've been having sneak peeks of you on socials, mate. Following you on socials. Yeah. You're definitely looking like a machine these days with your training, your weight training.
Thank you.
Very motivating to watch and to look at, and to me it's a source of inspiration, motivation, seeing development since jail and seeing your achievements in that area of sport. Anyone that's listening and not watching this podcast, I encourage you to check out the pictures at the end of the video podcast. There'll be a few there of Culley in action. Mate, you've obviously taken weight training seriously since you got out of prison. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I stepped it up a bit, that's for sure. It's just not that I was worried about going back down a rabbit hole of drugs if I didn't do training, but it's just I've got that addiction for it, and it's a healthy one at that. Just stuck with it, and I'm always getting better. And I feel like I could do better. I trained this morning. I feel like I could have gone harder. I'm always my worst critic, and I've got lots of work to do, but it's something I don't think I'll ever stop till I can't move. And if I can't move, I'll find another way to do it. It's definitely motivates me. I am definitely put a priority. Otherwise, I don't have a good day.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, I'm still religiously with that. I had a bit of a break in the morning ones, but it's getting done either way. Once my proper gym is set up here, we'll be back to 4 a.m. starts for sure.
And you think, mate, that being a redhead, has that anything to do with your good results?
I've never had that question. I don't know, I doubt it, because I see plenty of non-gingers so I can get looking way better, but fuck, I wasn't ready for that one.
Why weight training, mate?
I just want to look good, so I feel good. I love the aspect of the diet, part as well. I love learning. It's full science, and I'm still learning so much. There's so much to learn, and I'm really into it and passionate. That's how I know, because I've got a form of ADHD where I don't process things well at all. I struggle in school. I have to do things 100 times to get it. So training, once I find something, a passion or a topic I'm into, and I really want to learn everything that I can about it. So that comes down to nutrition and stuff as well. It's not just weight training, it's the whole aspect of science around it. What can I do to look good as fast as possible? And once I get there, I'll have another goal. And, I started, doing a little very minor bodybuilding, just to work on my weakest point, just work from there and do it myself. I'm not going to train that, but I watch a lot of YouTube and get things from there. And the hardest part is the diet. Being free now, I do love to enjoy myself as well at the same time, but I feel like I can find a balance too. It's not like I'm trying to do competitions or anything, but I just want to always look good, but I'm always going to want to look better as well.
Dieting obviously is very crucial to weight training.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of work put into keeping a strict diet.
Yeah.
It's easy that if you're out and about to just call into a shop and buy a pie if you're hungry.
It is.
So how do you manage to keep your diet on track?
I will meal prep as much as possible. If I fall short of a day, unfortunately, I'll be getting something out that day. But these days, it's too expensive to do every day anyway. So meal prepping is motivational enough to save. So there's more than benefits just for the health aspect and diet. The money is it's ridiculous these days. So if you want to go out and have lunch, you're going to spend $30. So me to meal prep and that, I'll do something basic like lean beef, like real lean beef mince and sweet potato. So I've got superfoods there, and it's very small calories in that, and that'd be my lunch. And normally dinner would be like fish and eggs, tuna eggs, something very basic. And I'm still doing my overnight gel oats in the morning religiously. Like Ned's got me onto that, and I just haven't stopped.
I actually did it last night.
Yeah.
Put the oats in milk and put it in the fridge with the berries.
Yeah.
And then ate it this morning.
Absolutely. And I'm still getting better at that. I'm still finding better ways to do that. I'm still, compare it back in the day to what you can use at Mobilon. There's only so many things you can use, but now it's like protein powder, just make it. So I love it every day, and it's been 6 years. I still have it every day.
I've seen you do one of your meal preps on socials.
Yeah. What
does a meal prep look like? Like, do you do it on a certain day or?
Yeah, I normally do it on Sunday. Yeah, I normally do it on Sunday. It takes, 3-4 hours of a day up, but saves me doing this on every night after work. So, I work 11-hour days, and last thing I do when I go home, especially if I've got to train, is make food, because I like to be in bed by 8. I'm still very much a grandpa with bedtime and that. Just like Giles. I'm just in my bed by 8, 8:30 latest. I want to be asleep by 9. Can't help it, but I do get up early. I get up real early anyway. I need, at least 6 hours. I just glad I'm not getting woken up by intercoms and stuff,
Oh, mate. Not getting woken up by an intercom, man. It's awesome.
It's good.
Yeah. I really, really hated those intercoms.
Yeah. I just hate when you're locked in like early, but then other units will be out, so you get the intercom anyway. But, fucking just say you're in this light or whatever, and you get Angus unit, turn them, fuck off, man. Surely they've got a button they can, isolate it. But they don't.
No.
Just do what the fuck with it anyway.
The whole prison.
Yeah.
And some of those intercom systems are right next to your bed, depending on what prison you're in. So,
Right now. Not good.
what about your music, mate? Like, how does music interact with your training?
It's motivation, I suppose, in the best way. You know, you need a certain beat. I remember when we were doing Tabata together, it was always about the dance, techno sort of stuff, like Tomorrowland beats or some sort of trance, and, you know, gets you going at a certain pace, you know. With my weights and that, depends what I'm doing. I do love the very underground urban hip-hop that not many people know artists about, but like it's just a real raw beat that's aggressive that helps me train. If I'm going for like a PB or something like that, I'll put on some go-to heavy metal music that I love. That helps me lift, and I'll get a PB. Answering right up, it definitely helps. I can't train with that music. You definitely get used to it in certain environments, and even in my own gym at home, I still have headphones in when I could have options. I just love it. I love it being embedded in my head and really getting into it.
What do you think you would do without music?
Man, what would I do without music? What would I do personally? I'd probably re-offend. Probably re-offend.
You know, there's probably a lot of truth in that.
Yeah, I'd probably re-offend until music got brought back. I don't know. But if it was never around, then I wouldn't know any different. But if they just banned music all of a sudden, I'd re-offend. For sure. I'd go right on with it.
Well, I mean, music gives a sense of meaning. It's not just motivation, but it's a sense of meaning, isn't it?
Yes, and escape. It's everything. It is every word you can think of. It is that.
Following you, as I said, on social media, and I noticed that you've produced some small clips. They look really good. They look really professionally made.
Just like I originally started just like to do it for myself, you know, to remind me that I'm doing something well, or I look good when I've got a pump or something like that, and I'll watch it for myself. But it's also good at the same time to inspire other people and motivate. And yes, thousands of people are doing this same thing. You know, it's good. I see other friends doing it. You know, whether it's just a simple workout with a tripod set up, or they, you know, actually do a shoot with something. It's either or. I just love seeing. Doesn't even need to be friends. Just anyone doing something that inspires me to do something that I haven't seen and exercise. But you know, like that's what started me. I've seen someone doing a video, and then I'm like, man, I want to do one of them. I want to do like a 12-week cut and see how I can look after that. So it's the same thing. Like someone's inspired me, and maybe hopefully I can do the same for someone else. And I'm always doing that. And people do, you know, message me a lot, quite often. Like, you know, at least once a week, a couple times a week, and they're like, and it'd be some sort of inspiration. They've told me they've gone to the gym, they haven't gone in months, but then they send a video or a comment that I made or one photo, and they're like, I'm going to the gym today. Because I'm like, just fucking go. Being a bitch, just get on. Let's go, man.
Get it done.
Get it done.
Yeah, for me, you know, creating little clips from training or from bushwhack riding, mate, that's part of the process of training, and it inspires me. I come back and I'm excited to make a clip and get it out there and do something creative.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very much myself with it, like where I'll put a song that I, you know, normally train to with it, you know, so people know what I'm listening to. But all of a sudden I'll have the GoPro or my phone set up on my bike when I'm riding, and I'll put some relaxed, chill music, and, you know, people are like, you can't hear the bike, or you should have something really aggressive. Like, that's my escape too. As much as gym is my escape where it gives me peace, I'm training really aggressively. But if I'm going for a ride, I'm just in another world. That's my shut off time. And I could have just relaxing, chilled acoustic music even, and I don't even hear the bike. You know, I'm in my own head, just watching the beach.
It's like a bit of tranquility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, a little bit on resilience and how sport, exercise, and also music may sort of help build resilience. To understand what resilience is, I think everyone sort of hears the word thrown around, but the dictionary definition of resilience is springing back or rebounding. Another source describes resilience as a capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties, either physically or mentally. Do you think that sport and exercise help you build resilience in that sense?
Absolutely. Resilience, it's all about the bounce back. You know, it's all about the bounce back. So who said this? I think it might have been Ricky Gervais, but he said once, like, if you can laugh through adversity, you're fucking bulletproof. You're bulletproof. And things like that stick with me. And when someone said something like that, I feel like I've got it in myself, and I owe it to myself to, you know, make that my habit or lifestyle a bit, you know. When I first went in, I was in for a month or so, and one of my good friends came to see me, and I was a bit upset. You know, it's like, I think I didn't do many visits, and it's for that reason, because I didn't want to see my friends, because it reminded me what I was missing out on. And that was just how I did my job. I didn't have kids or misses, so I just had very limited visits. My mate came to see me, and I was just sad. He told me what he'd been doing, and got me down. Like I said, I wasn't down a lot, but seeing my friends just reminded me what I was missing out. And he said to me, I showed a bit of a tear, and it's just like, I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. I know choice, but it's just at the start of it. I was like, here we go. And he's like, and he said something to me, and it just stuck with me, and it really helped me a lot. And he said, look, if anyone could do this out of us, meaning our group of friends and everyone knew, it's you. He said that, and like, it just hit me, and it took me like, it made me feel like I've got a responsibility now to prove him right and make jail easy for me, and just show him that I can do this easy, and just fucking start training hard and doing what I could. But it just stuck with me. So resilience on that side, I think, you know, it takes one little quote really to switch my head and pull my head in and made me want to prove people wrong and inspire or rise above and kind of bounce back.
Well, you definitely lived up to his comment. People would associate weight training with being physically resilient. But do you think there's a mental side of resilience that comes with weight training as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you got to want to do it at the same time. But I do, you know, someone else said once, you know, you got to, even if you don't like it, do it like you love it. So I don't want to get up sometimes at 4. Fucking do it like I love it. There's so many people like that. It works for them, it works for me. I do it like I love it, even if I hate it. Even if I'm having a shit day, I do it because, man, I feel good after. I feel so good. Some endorphins are released, and I'm just like, go do anything, bring it on. I got a shit day at work coming up, whatever. I train. I feel good and I look good. And I just get that in my head, like, you know, positive mindset, and aggressive. You know, might come off harsh, but you got to be. You know, if you're not harsh with yourself, you won't get anything done.
So the first time that you go to get into a heavy training routine, when you haven't trained for a long time, it seems like a chore, and it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
The mindset that can stop people from going through with that challenge is that when they're faced with a challenge, they just think, oh, I'll put that off or I'll give up. But then over time, by confronting the challenge and making it, or just putting yourself through that, you end up loving that adversity. You love the challenge. The bigger the challenge, the more you want to get involved with it, because at the end of it, the better you feel about overcoming that challenge.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe in a version where I used to have training legs or something like that, you know, just because I didn't have legs. And I don't really have legs now, but I've got more than I did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And once you see that definition, you start to love it. And there's little things like that. If you get a good photo with lighting, if you love it, you're like, all right, but you're not going to like it to start with, especially if you've never done it. You're going to have to learn to love it. And that just goes to show you learn to love anything. And if you do enough, if you want results, you can learn to love everything.
And weight training itself is something that obviously takes a lot of commitment because it's a long-term project on yourself.
Consistency is key. It's the whole aspect. Keep showing up. Doesn't matter if you don't see results the next day, you're not going to. Don't think about it. Just keep showing up. And that goes back to when I started doing Tabata and that, and I started losing a kilo a week. It just, I guess once you get that bug, you know you can do it because you just did it. So just consistency is key. Keep showing up. It's not going to happen overnight. And don't worry about it if you indulge in a dessert one week. Just relax. Just get back into it next day. Don't get hard on yourself and then go downwards from there. Just get over it.
In the same respect, thinking about resilience, do you think that music helps build capacity to withstand and recover quickly from difficulties? And if so, how?
I believe it does. I think, yeah, it does. 100%. No matter what the song's about, the lyrics, you know, get you through a time. You can relate, and it's not just you going through it, someone else is going through that, and it might teach you how to get past it. It might not. It might just explain how you should feel that time, and whether you want to just believe it and do what that person's told you. You can, but it helps everyone in very different aspects. I think, depending on the emotion of the song. I think
part of it would be inspiring or help you yourself build resilience, and another part of it, you would see other people get enjoyment from hearing your music. That would give you some sort of satisfaction as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about making someone feel better about a situation, or making their day, whether they don't even understand what you're talking about. They just want to come see you play. It's little things like that that just make you want to keep doing what you're doing. Some songs are written and they're just sad the whole time, but most songs start off telling a story and then working up to how they got past that time, you know. So like I said earlier, if I can write something or do something, whether it's a video on Instagram with a reel, or write a song that someone listens to about a bad time, and someone can make a better situation out of it, whether it motivates them or teaches them about how to get past a bad time, like a song, then that's why I keep doing it.
I hope to see plenty more videos from you, mate, because they're definitely inspiring.
Thanks, man.
Love seeing them.
Cool.
Yeah. And everyone's got their own little unique angles on their videos.
Yeah.
And that's also interesting to see when you see someone you know making a video, you say, oh, I like that angle they've come across, like that bit of music they put to work, like the way they've structured video.
The track can make the reel. Reel could be 10 times better just with the music that goes to it. Yeah. That's how strong music is.
I've got a few of the tracks that you've used in your clips now in my playlist and Spotify. Yeah,
there you go.
Definitely good motivation for bike riding.
Yeah, for sure.
So last few questions, mate, to wrap this up. What advice would you give someone who is about to go to prison for the first time, who has no idea what it is like, and what would you recommend to help them get through years of imprisonment?
Keep your head down, but up at the same time. Stay out of people's businesses, everyone's business. Just watch and observe. Stay off the drugs. Stay out of the politics. Do your jail, what's best for you. Some people might not like it. It is what it is. Be yourself, because if you're not, someone's going to find out real quick and it will ruin your jail. If you've got a long stint, find something, pick up a hobby and stick to it. Learn something so you come out with it. Take up guitar, take up reading, do something and escape. Write, do whatever you can. But yeah, the main thing is just stay out of people's business, the politics, stay off the drugs, do what's best for you in your jail.
Definitely find something to achieve, a personal achievement in prison.
Yeah.
Like you said, learning something.
Learn something new that you haven't done. Definitely learn something new that you haven't done. Make fix relationships. Do something to make you feel good. Don't just go in there and waste it. Waste 5-10 years and just I did nothing. Do something. Just do something to better yourself.
Do something.
Because what you're doing wasn't working. Some people go to jail for things they haven't done. I get that. I'm speaking to everyone, but some people get a big sentence for something, doesn't deserve it. But like I said, I'm only speaking for some people, but if you're going away, just make the best of it. Don't, and just remember, it's only a small chapter. It's not your whole life, it'll be over, it'll pass, become a better version of yourself and move forward.
Good advice. If you had a magic wand, mate, what would you change about prison if you could change one or two things?
About prison, fun, man. I would put more music range resources in there as saying a small studio. It would have to be very controlled, I get it, and equipment is expensive, but to have the lads be able to play around with music recording programs, it doesn't need to be connected to the internet, learning to record, becoming, an engineer of music, that's a great job to have, and that's a lot of money too. So to learn the experience, they'd have fun at the same time. They'd wake up every day. And hanging to go to this course. So having a controlled studio, decent instruments where they could record their stuff, whether it's good or not, they're doing something and they can send out to their family. So I'd say more music resources, being instruments and engineering and recordings devices, I think.
And I think getting people involved in music gives people some sort of meaningful, productive, creative thing to do in life.
Absolutely. And you remember, there's a lot of lads, they've got a lot of things to say. Whether they're writing music, they can write it in a riff, or the way they play drums, they express themselves.
It would help alleviate boredom.
Yeah.
It would probably, boredom, the prison teach this in their own courses, but boredom is a catalyst to drug use and mental health issues.
Yeah. And there's a lot of testosterone in jail, so having people relaxed a bit more and doing something they love is going to become a less hostile environment for everyone.
What does the future look like for Culley?
Hopefully with the music, hopefully this new band thing picks up and it works in my favour. Either way, I'll be back. And training, it won't stop. It'll just get better. I'm still learning more. I just always want to build a better version of me moving forward. That's it.
We're going to see some new albums soon, mate?
I'll definitely be putting something on a CD, whether it's with this band thing or another band. It'll be happening. It just when it's a matter of when.
And would you tour on band?
If I could,
yeah.
If there was no restrictions there, I'd be touring for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it's about. We have a plan. We have a plan in action, and a business plan, and we don't want to just play a million local shows. We want to just get our name out. So hopefully, if I'm not restricted, that'll be the first thing we're doing is touring and getting our music out. Yeah.
Can't wait to see some new albums, mate. That's for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Mate, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I really appreciate you sharing your experience in prison with sport and exercise and music, and also just generally, it's been good to learn how they help you build resilience and how they help you actually get through life generally. And I hope a lot of other people can get some inspiration and some ideas from what you've discussed today. Really appreciate it, mate. I turn it over to you for the last word.
Free Jim Earley, and anyone that's ever gone to jail or gone through things, just get in your own head and keep your head up, and just remember it's not forever. It'll pass, and keep moving forward and build from that. If you haven't gone to the gym, start going to the gym today. Don't make an excuse, just go, because it does help mentally and stuff like that. So to you, man, I like to say it's great to see you on the side of the fence, bro. It really is. But on top of that, kicking goals and doing what you're doing as well, it makes me happy to see. So I'm really happy that you're out and living your best life now, bro.
I appreciate the kind words, mate.
Nice to see you, bro. Cheers, see you, bro.
Come on now. And we don't stop. What's this? The city lights inspire magnetism, condition visions of grandeur, stand tall. Scraping the sky like the Porsche Khalifa, like an handful. Surefire, rhyme incision, cut with the tongue sharp, and an obsidian blades. Living in the city of renegades. Was it about